Welcome back to Death Before Booze. I'm Sam.
I'm Jen.
Hi,
Hi, Sam.
Jen. So we're here for another
We're here.
episode. Thank you for coming back. We're kind of on this little fun kick. We tried it last quarter, but now we like to do this thing where Jen covers a murder and I cover this the haunting
paranormal.
that happens because of the murders. So we're trying this again because I have a lot of fun doing the Amityville horror. And
It was fun.
this one always creeps me out. I've been kind of a little obsessive about it for longer than I care to admit. But what are we covering today, Jen?
We're covering Fox Hollow Farm. So, for you guys who that doesn't ring a bell, it is Herb Baumeister.
Yep.
And his murders on the farm. So,
Crazy.
apparently Jen didn't do really great research, so Sam had to help her a little bit with some of the pieces.
That's
but
not
it's
true.
fine.
That's not true. I just knew a really random, horribly weird, sadistic fact. And
Which, in all of the freaking articles I read and everything, it never mentioned it. So I don't understand. So
but I told
we'll
you.
get to that fact.
I found it out from Zach Bagel Bites. Like, that's where
That's
I
true,
first
and I don't-
heard
all right.
it. And then, I kind of pieced it in there. And then, it's on the record, it's a thing. But, maybe it's just
But it wasn't
I mean,
mentioned because it's like...
the guy's already a
It's
psychopath.
weird.
And then you have this weird fact
Fair.
thrown in there. It's like, how much weirder
Fair.
can we make... how much worse can we make this in popular media? Come on.
Yeah.
That's...
I'm sure it's in documentaries, which I haven't got to his documentaries yet because...
He's so creepy.
It's weird.
What a horrible human being.
This guy's weird. So we're going to talk about... I will talk about Herb Baumeister and his crimes, and Sam is going to cover the haunting of the farm after, because there's a lot of negative energy over there, which is fair because of all the crap. So...
Yep.
So, Herb Baumeister was born in Indianapolis, April 7th, 1947, and he was the oldest of 4 kids.
Okay.
Dad was an anesthesiologist,
Okay.
so they had, it was a comfortable living. He had a normal childhood, but he started to exhibit antisocial personality behavior. So, his friend said he was also urophilia, which is a sexual excitement with the sight or thought of urine.
Ew, he was into golden showers. I'm sorry, I don't mean to yuck your out, but that's just something that I can't get behind. I'm so sorry that I did not. If you're into it, I'm sorry. I did not mean to. That was
it's just it's.
I'm so sorry.
It's just a weird thing. It's just a weird. I didn't realize that there was a term for it.
I didn't
so
either. I thought
really
it was just hey, this is what I'm into.
This is what
I
I'm
think
into.
That makes
I'm
it
into
worse that it has a word.
Yeah. Yes. He used to say to his friends, he'd think about how urine tasted. I waited until you stopped drinking because I figured it would be like...
Why would you say... I wonder what... Okay. Oh, that could have been really bad. Why would you say that? That's like somebody...
To a friend?
I
don't know.
Well, now I do wonder what urine tastes like.
I don't
want to know, but
No, but his friend said it was kind of like a thing that he talked about often. So
that was like his Roman Empire.
Yeah, so they kind of got weirded out. Which again, it's if you're into that, go for it.
Oh my God, please do. I'm so sorry that it came out like that.
We're not trying to say you're
not weird at all. Everybody has their own thing. Everybody likes their own thing. Please go for it. I'm sorry.
I mean, look at My Strange Addiction. Okay, there's a woman who eats bricks.
There's a woman who ate her dead husband's ashes. If that's your thing, it's just not mine. I'm sorry, it's coming off.
I don't think that's healthy though.
It's probably.
I also don't think drinking your own pee is healthy either. So,
but isn't it sterile? That was on a show. He had to drink his own.
That was on Dodgeball. He said he likes the taste. Oh, that was Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls did that.
Ew.
For Survival.
Oh, what was that other one? Show. No, and Better Call Saul. He's like, I had to drink my own pee because he got stuck out in the desert with the guy. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Blah.
You gotta do what you gotta do to survive, bro.
So yeah, there's that. Also, fun fact, he liked to play with dead animals because, you know, that's the... Also, he peed on his teacher's desk.
Did he like his teacher?
You know what?
Did he wet the bed?
To be honest, I'm going to assume that it was kind of that. Like
this
or
bitch
it was
keeps
just an
failing
obsession.
me on my spelling test. I'm going to pee on her desk.
You know, like, I don't know, but it was just weird. His father, kind of rightly so, was like, you know, I'm kind of concerned about his behavior, so he sent him to get some medical testing.
That's awesome.
Like, you know,
well, he was an anesthesiologist,
I agree.
So like he had a clue.
So he probably was like, yeah.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and antisocial personality disorder, but he did not receive any psychiatric treatment for it. So it was kind of like they got the label and then that was it.
Okay.
Which, again, it doesn't mean you're going to turn into a horrible person if you have these disorders, but you do need to keep them in check because it can lead to very
your mental
situations.
Issue is not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
Agreed. Yes. And I agree. That's Sam's mantra, and I think it works every time.
I heard it from Amanda on Wine and Crime. I can't take it, but I live by that every day.
You know what? I like that mantra.
Yes, it's a good
because
one.
You're right. And especially schizophrenia and paranoid personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, like those are really, that's big, heavy hitters. So like you need to stay on top of that.
Yeah.
But he didn't, because whether it was dad didn't push it, whether he just didn't do it, I don't really know. But so he attended Indiana University for one semester, but then he dropped out and then he returned. And then I guess he finished it up. And then in 1972, he went to Butler University for one semester. So it seemed as though, again, school wasn't really for him, which is okay. Like, that's not a big deal. He had a lot of jobs and he had a strong work ethic, which a lot of people commented on. However, his behavior was bizarre at these jobs. Could possibly be because he's not medicated and didn't seek any help for his disorders. So maybe that's the reason why he had like kind of a jump around type of job.
Got it.
So he married Juliana Sater in November of 1971. They had 3 kids. Julia later went on to say that they only had sex 6 times in their 25 years of marriage, and she never saw him naked.
How do you have sex if you don't see him naked?
The lights are off.
But like,
maybe it was a clothes thing, and you know, because some people do that. They like to have sex with clothes on, and that's okay. Like again,
okay,
that's your thing. But I guess
I'm kind of annoyed at this. They had sex 6 times and had 2 kids, and I had to work at it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the practicing was fun, but they averaged 2 fucks per kid, and it took me 2 years. The practicing was fun, but it took forever. Shit.
But it also, again, like, it just seems like I get, like, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, like, it wasn't as big of a, you know, people can have sex for, like, you know, other than making babies type of thing. But the fact that they were married for 25 years and she literally was like, I've never seen him naked, is also a little... I don't know. You know, it's
sus. I'm sorry. That's so weird to me. Like, you guys didn't shower together. You didn't just be like, fuck it on a Sunday and walk to the bathroom, like, completely naked. Like, come on.
Right.
You don't walk around your house when you're drunk with no pants on. Like, seriously?
I mean, listen, okay?
I mean...
You don't just, like, kind of have the door open while you're, like, showering and someone else is using the bathroom. You know, like,
yeah.
It just seems like...
I mean, that one I don't do. But, like, yeah, like, you don't...
At some point, there would be some time in your marriage where that would happen.
I agree.
So, 6 months after his marriage, he was committed to a psychiatric hospital by his father for 2 months because his wife was hurting and needed help. So his wife was kind of like, oh no, yeah, he felt like Juliana was kind of like, I don't know what's going on. He's having this bizarre behavior. So dad proactively was like, you need to go somewhere for a couple of months and have, things
sort your shit out.
Kind of settle.
Okay.
So, you know what? Again, good on dad. Like, dad's on top of it. We hear all these stories about the parents being like, that's not a real thing, or not my problem, it's your problem. So good on him for being like, your wife is having a problem because you can't handle your shit. So let's go see somebody about this.
Yeah.
So, he did found a successful Save-A-Lot store chain in Indianapolis. So after having all the job hopping, he decided, I'm going to start my own thing, which was called Save-A-Lot, which is kind of like Big Lots and all that kind of
cool.
stuff. So in 1988. So that's the whole thing. Like or his backstory anyway. So then we get to the farm itself. Well, he purchased the farm in May of 1988, and the farm is 18 acres, nice. And it was built in 1978. So it's a really big farm. Also, it kind of seemed that the reason why he maybe not was really into the marriage was because he was kind of going and doing the gay bar thing, which is fine.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean,
just let your wife know.
You should kind of talk about that. Yeah, as long as everybody is
on the same page.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy about it. That's fine. But let her know, and he wasn't. So
yeah, so he's just not nice.
Now, the interesting thing is during the time, so the early 1990s, investigators started looking into disappearances of gay men, similar age, similar height, similar weight in the Indianapolis area because there were many people going missing. So in 1996, Tony Harris informed police saying a gay bar patron called Brian Smart had likely killed his friend, Robert Goodlett, who was missing. So he's like, hey, by the way, this guy frequents gay bars. His name is Brian Smart, and I have a feeling something happened with my friend and him because he went with my friend, never came back.
Okay.
So his friend went missing after meeting Brian. Brian had actually met up with Tony later on, and Tony said that this guy was into autoerotic asphyxiation. But he attempted to wrap the pool hose around him and kind of go a little bit further than just the autoerotic asphyxiation, try to strangle him with it. So Tony was like, I'm good. I'm going to go home now. And he managed to note his license plate. So, works for us.
Okay.
While they were doing that, or while he gave them the information, because again, it's kind of a lot. You go into the police station, you're like, hey, my friend's missing, probably dead. This guy did this. And they're like, okay. The police did ID this Brian Smart as Herb. So Herb was going under a fake name. And this is where he was kind of frequenting a lot of the downtown gay bars, looking for people, picking them up, and then going home with them. Home meaning to the farm.
Okay.
So he blah, blah, blah. They were like, okay, we found out who this guy is. They went to the farm, they went to the house, and then they said, hey, your name came up. Can we search the house? Can we kind of just, whatever, we're just looking. His wife and her both were like, fuck no, you're not coming in here. You have nothing to go off of. So they don't have a search warrant.
Go get a warrant.
They have nothing to go off of other than this guy was like, hey, he went home with my... And also, his wife is totally oblivious to all of this, like, second life. Like, she has no idea what's going on.
Isn't that crazy? Like, that was a thing that always, like, made me sus. Like, you don't know anything. Like, your husband sends you off constantly and is like, go on vacation, go over here, go do this with the kids, get out of the house. And he never goes with you, and it never is like... Why does he want to be alone? Like, why doesn't he want us around? Like,
and maybe it's a matter of she's like, well, maybe he's working because he did own the chain. But at the same time, you're right. Like, how many vacations do you need to send us on?
Like, why don't
why are
you,
we not
why,
with
and
you?
why is it always on weekends? Why is it always I have to go away for a few days? Because a lot of this happened, like, over the weekends, from what I recall.
Right.
Crazy.
Honestly, yes. Because, and it's, so, as they were kind of looking again, because his wife was like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. So, okay. Police then said they went back, they frequented the gay bars, asked around a little bit, and it turned out he had two aliases. One of the names was actually one of the names of the people that had gone missing. So he used
No.
Right?
I mean,
Isn't that fucked?
That's so fucked, but it's kind of smart at the same time. But that's fucked. I don't like that.
But it's fucked.
Yeah.
So later on, and this is where actually I have to give Sam props for helping me out with this one, because there was another guy who came into the fray who talked to the police and said, hey, in 1994, I met this guy and I went home with him, and his name was Matt Goodyear. They met at a bar. He was like, yeah, he was fine, whatever. I went back home with him. I wasn't really paying attention to where we were going, but I know it was a long driveway, long follow up, and it was kind of dark. He had a pool and a pool house where...
That was like the big draw too. Like he would Baumeister would go to like the gay bars and be like, "So I have an indoor pool at my house.
I have an indoor pool.
Do you want to come?
And
do you
listen,
come see it?
If you look at it, it is a pretty nice indoor pool.
I'm not gonna lie. Like,
So,
free puppies in a white van with no windows or an indoor pool. You might get me. No, maybe not an indoor pool because people pee in the water, but. Definitely, like, if you're like, dude, I have a library at my house, I would be like, bitch, let's fucking go see this library. Like, what do you have there? If I see Twilight, I'm leaving. Like, I get it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So he was like, okay, the guy seemed really weird, whatever. We saw the pool set up, and he goes, what was really weird was that it was all set up for guests because he, of course, that was his pool. But there were a bunch of mannequins that were sitting that looked like, if you looked quick, they'd be like people. Ugh. And they were all set up in different areas. And he's like, they were posed.
I hate that.
One woman was dressed reaching into the cabinet. So there was actually it was like someone was actually... I hate it. One was a lifeguard, and several others were just posed around looking like they were enjoying the best time of their lives.
I hate it. I hate everything about it. Like, why? Why?
So Goodyear told the police that he's like, okay, well, Herb talked about cocaine. He talked about his fetishes, especially the erotic asphyxiation. So he asked him, like, he was like, hey, could we try that type of thing? So he's like, I had the neck, I had him by the neck. I held him in the pool, standing in the water. His eyes were bugging out. His lips were turning purple, the whole 9 yards. He's into it. I mean, this guy was into it. So, but Goodyear said, I don't want to be choked. Like, you can do what you want, and which is fine. But he said Herb tried anyway, kind of like with Tony Pryor, where he's like, hey, let's just, he's like, no, thanks. We're good. So Herb made him a drink. Goodyear didn't drink it and was smart. Like immediately dropped in the immediately. After he was talking about all his fetishes, he was like, "I'm thanks for the drink." Like, ooh, it's so good.
Why? Wow, what a great drink!
Oh, what
right
a
over
great
my shoulder. What? Why? Okay. I have to rewind for like a second. First off, yes, don't take drinks from strangers, but
no,
don't do that. But like. It's cool to have your kinks, but like, why would you trust someone you literally just met at a bar with like the asphyxiation stuff? They don't know you. They don't know your tolerance. They don't know your like. They didn't even have a safe word. Nobody discussed pineapple. Nobody said unicorn. Like
banana,
butterfly. Like no, there was no.
No, and I agree. Like, if you met somebody at the bar, you're kind of clicking, and then you're like, hey, you want to come home with me? And then it's like, by the way, I'm into cocaine. I'm also into this. Like, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
as a first impression.
I mean, you don't
like,
one night stand auto asphyxiation. You don't do that. I'm so sorry. Like, you could die. Literally. We could all be dead. No, I would need to know somebody a lot longer. No, I can't. I hate it.
But by the whole, like, again, he said straight out, Goodyear was like, listen, I'm not into that. Yeah. And he said immediately he backed off. He was a little scared of me. I'm not drunk. I'm not out of my mind. I've got my senses. And at that point, he did back off. So Goodyear kind of implied and said to the police, I feel like if I was inebriated, it would have continued. Now, the problem is when he reported this, he's like, I don't know the guy's name. I don't know where he's from. So I don't know anything. So the cops were like, okay, so this is probably our guy, but we just don't know anything about him. We don't know whatever. So, meanwhile, as the investigation's going on, because this all happened in 1994, 2 years later, so it actually did take them 2 years to kind of compile enough evidence to be like, okay, we've got the place, we've got the guy, we've got this. One of his sons discovered a partially buried human skeleton in the backyard of
Fuck right the fuck off. It was his kid who found that? Oh, shit.
It was his kid. Okay. Who was like, Dad, what is this? And he was like, it's cool because it's one of my dad's dissecting skeletons. So he's like, no, it's cool. What? Why is it buried in the backyard?
Why isn't it like proudly displayed in your living room? Like, look, I have a dead person. Why would we bury it in the yard? I would be, oh no. I'd be like, that's stupid. See, now, you know what he should have been like? It probably is a Native American burial ground, so be good or they're going to come after you. Like,
you know what? That should have been.
I mean, guys.
Instead of it's fine. It's just one of Dad's. You know how Dad is an anesthesiologist. Like, it's probably one of his. And the kid's like, okay.
Parenting 101 from Sam. I'm a month in. Parenting 101. It's obviously an Indian burial ground. Don't be an asshole or they're going to come after you.
Don't be an asshole or they're going to come after you. It's going to be poltergeist and it's going to be crazy.
So terrible. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, even though maybe son was like, okay, Juliana was like, no, this is fucked. So she actually became scared because there's
a dead guy in
the
yard.
What is this? He also, his erratic behavior, because again, we can only assume that
it never
Herb
stopped.
Isn't medicated at this point. So she's like, okay, she filed for divorce. And she's like, we're leaving the property. We're going on vacation because yet again, my husband's like, please leave the property. So she allowed the police at that point to search the property. And man, did they find stuff.
Oh, shit.
But she also, this was about the time where while she was on vacation, not only did she file for divorce while they were away, she also filed for a protective order to keep him away from her and her kids.
Smart.
Because this was kind of which makes sense.
Absolutely.
Again, I get what you're saying. Like, how did you not be like, but at the same time, I don't blame her for not, because I doubt she knew anything. And she, in like biographies and stuff later on, she was like, I had no idea. Like, I knew he was crazy, but I didn't know he was that crazy. So.
Yeah. It literally took a dead body for her to be like, oh shit.
Yeah. They investigated. In June 1996, they recovered human bone fragments of at least 11 people on the property.
Oh, don't like that.
And a 2022 search, so they actually searched recently too, they found one bone and identified 20 additional locations that might have more remains buried.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Yeah. Only 8 people were identified. So this is kind of one of those John Wayne Gacy situations where it's like they have the bodies, but they haven't been identified.
But they also don't know if, like, that's it. Like, I think they think there's almost 20 to 25 people who were missing or taken to the property based off of the people missing in the area.
There could be more.
His, like, Ew. I hate it. I hate everything about
So, once they found this, they were like, well, now we got to find him. So he actually had fled to Ontario because this is what you do. This is where he went to Pioneer Provisional Park, and he completed suicide by shooting himself in the head with a 357 Magnum.
I hate him.
He wrote a 3-page note where he said he regretted messing up the park because he...
Oh no, I got my blood everywhere and somebody has to clean it up now.
He committed slur slide but in the park. He felt bad about his failing marriage and his business because his business seemed to also not be doing so well. But he didn't mention anything about anybody on the farm. Yep. So he didn't mention the victims. He didn't mention anything. So like he basically, this was his, slur slide note. And he was like, I'm sorry to make a mess. Thanks.
What a dick. What a dick.
So again, it's said as we were talking, while the kids and his wife were on vacation, he'd pick up the guys from the bar. He took them back to his house. He did he mentioned the erotic asphyxiation BS. And then while they were inebriated, he strangled them. And then it was believed he burned them. He burned the bodies. He pulverized the bones and disposed of them on the farm. So they discovered 11, but as you had said, there might be more. It's a matter of like how they were. They also were thinking, because at the time, an unidentified serial killer called the I-70 Strangler had been active and killing from June 1980 to October 1991. So they were thinking this could kind of be the same guy. The killer would meet victims at a local gay bar and other places in a 4-block radius of Indianapolis. The victims were found naked or partially clothed on Interstate 70. They were dumped in rivers, streams, ditches, wherever. All of them were strangled to death.
Oh my God.
So, technically, this was all unsolved because they did connect. They were like, he probably is this guy. Technically, the case is unsolved because Herb was the prime suspect. He was named prime suspect in the case in 1999 because the body stopped being found once he went to Fox Hollow. So the idea is that technically the I-70 Strangler is still like we kind of have a feeling it's him because they stopped once he moved to the farm.
And then he could hide the bodies
so they're thinking
there in the woods.
That he could hide the bodies instead of just dumping them. So that's still kind of unsolved. So the Hamilton County Coroner's Office appealed to the public requesting information on missing family members from 1980 to 1990s to help identify the last victims that they found. More than 30 families at this point have provided DNA samples, and they have hopes of more people contributing because, of course, during that time, like there's a lot of missing. There's the hitchhiking thing. As of January 2024, so last year, forensic experts continue to work to ID nearly 10,000 portions of human remains recovered on the farm. In June, they were able to ID the remains of another victim who had been reported missing in 1993. Police have 4 more DNA samples to ID before bringing the victims to 12.
Wow.
And the Hamilton County Coroner Office said because many of the remains were found burnt and crushed, the investigation is extremely challenging, which is it makes sense that the reason why now today they're still piecing things together from that piece of shit. So, but thank you for enlightening me about the mannequin situation because even though
mannequins are fucked.
Listen. Even though that was such a minute detail, like it really does shine a light on this guy because I'm like, he posed them too. It wasn't like they were just like standing. He like posed them to be like sunbathing and all that.
Fucking picture.
What a weirdo.
Like Home Alone, where he has like the fake party going. Yeah, and it's like they're dancing and like that's exactly what I picture this. Maybe not on a turntable spinning, but like,
But they're like
to feel like
so
people
if you
are around.
So if you looked into the pool house and you were just kind of like outside, you'd see people.
Yeah. I hate it.
So weird. Such a weirdo.
All of it. Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah.
So now that we've heard all the
let's talk
fucked
about
up shit. Let's hear about more fucked up shit. Shall we then? All right. So, Fox Hollow Farm, the actual property, is currently one of the most documented hauntings in America. So I'm not going to sit here and say it is the most, like, it's not like Gettysburg, it's not like the Sally House. It's definitely somewhere where you can go and you will get something. It's not exactly a paranormal lab because people live there, like it's a private residence, but they do open the home to paranormal investigators, and quite a few have been there.
That's so creepy that people stay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that I would set foot in that property just to be like, I'm living here. This is great.
I'd go there.
No. I'd go there to visit. I wouldn't go there to live. You know?
You live in New England. I'm sure your house is haunted.
But not like that. not like that.
Not like yeah, but no.
Not like that haunted though. Not like that crazy shit happened. You know?
Oh my gosh.
Like, I don't know.
All right, here we go. I'm comfortable. You're comfortable. We got the monster, literally and figuratively.
We opened up the monster. We opened the fucking monster.
Let's go. So, once the property was like released from all the investigating, which obviously they're still kind of doing, the property was put up for sale. So in 2006, Rob and Vicky Graves, great last name for this, they are looking for a home outside of Indianapolis. They're kind of tired of the hustle and bustle of the city, and they want to like go back in the burbs. So they're looking around and they find this beautiful, sprawling 18-acre property with a humongous fucking house, horse farm, beautiful everything. They're like, let's fucking go. But the price is ridiculously low.
Uh-huh.
I mean, feels a little too good to be true. But we call up the realtor. We're like, yo, bitches, let's go look at this house. There's a lot going on. We want to go see it. So they're taking a tour. And it's even more beautiful in person. The rooms, the pool, the sprawling yard. The kids are going to love everything because they have 3 kids. I don't know. I saw it in a couple of different things. They have children. And they're like, the kids are going to love all of this. And as they're walking through the house, they get to the pool. And a little light bulb goes off in Rob's head. And he looks at the realtor and goes, this was that serial killer's house. And now in Indiana, the rule is you do not have to disclose a murder scene if it is not directly questioned. So if somebody doesn't say, hey, was somebody murdered here, they don't got to tell you shit. Right. But now that the question has been posed, the realtor goes, oh yeah, this was Baumeister's property. He was a serial killer and brought people here to murder them in this pool.
Yes.
And they went, yes. Okay. They finished the tour. They went home, they chatted, and they're like, we will take the house. We will never get a better deal. We will never have a nicer property.
I mean,
like, yes. Give it to me, wrap it up. And within 2 weeks, they were moved in. Talk about a fast escrow. Okay.
All right.
So here we go.
I'm scared.
Didn't take the family long to feel at home. You know, they got their shit. They moved in. The kids are loving the pool. And they run in and out. So it's attached to the house, but it's kind of separate from the house as well. It is an indoor pool. And there are doors. So, like, it goes out to the yard. So the kids would leave the doors open, jump in the pool, get out, chase each other around the yard, dive back in the pool, and bring in all this dirt and grime and nastiness. Cute. So fun, but really hard to keep clean.
It's fun.
Love that.
Oh, yeah.
Great time. Love it. Can't wait to do it again. But Vicky's getting annoyed because now she's got to vacuum the fucking pool all the time.
Yeah.
So one day she's in there and she's like, these fucking kids. She goes to vacuum the pool. So she plugs in the vacuum. She's there. She's plugging in the pool. She's vacuuming the pool, getting all the rocks out. And the vacuum stops working. Looks around. Cool. What's up? The plug is out. We've all done it. You know, you're vacuuming. You get a little too far away. Pops out. Totally get it. It's happened to all of us. No problem. She goes back, plugs it back in, starts vacuuming again, and it comes unplugged. So now she's like, did I pull it too hard again? Like, what happened here? Like, what's going on? So she goes over and she plugs it back in, and now she's like kind of fucking with the plug. Like, is it secure? Is it loose? Do I need to get, Rob to fix the plug? Like, does not... Nope, it's nice and secure in the little, the pokey bit goes in the pokey holes, and everything's fine. But now she's, like, getting a little nervous, because, like, why does this keep coming out? Like, there's still slack in the cord. It's not like I have it taut, and I'm, like, trying to reach that last corner instead of just moving the plug like I do when I'm vacuuming my house. So now she's starting to, like, look over her shoulder while she's vacuuming. And she's looking over her shoulder, and now she's vacuuming, and she's staring at the plug. And she sees the plug get pulled out of the wall, and the cord gets thrown. So now it's feet away from the pluggy bit. She drops the vacuum and goes back inside and is like, I'm good. Leave the fucking rocks. The kids will have to deal. I'm not dealing with this. So she goes inside, and that is our first encounter at Fox Hollow Farm for this family. Next fun account. Rob owns, is very high up at a car dealership in the Indianapolis area. And he has an employee who is constantly late. This employee's name is Joe. And Rob's like, dude, you can't keep coming in late, bro. Like, you can't. You gotta be here on time. You gotta be here for your job. Like, we need you, bro. And Joe's like, I'm really sorry. I'm not doing it on purpose. I live over an hour away. I can't find a place closer. Then you hit traffic, and I'm getting fucked over. So Rob's like, oh, that's it? No problem. We have an apartment that's attached to our house. Why don't you rent the apartment from us? You can move right in, chill here, and then you'll get to work on time. Joe jumps at this. He's like, absolutely. What a great plan. I guess they liked each other. I really don't think I'd want to work, and live with the human who's my boss. But, I guess, I don't know. This is what they decided. So that weekend, he moves in, him and his dog Fred, they move in. Rob helps him, and after a full long fucking day of moving everything in and being super tired, he's like, all right, we're here, everything's in. I'm going to go crash because I'm tired. It's been a long day. So him and the dog, they go to bed, and the whole night he has these nightmares that someone is following him or he's being chased on the property. And then he starts to come to, like he wakes up and he comes to, and he realizes he's actually running outside on the property. So he's like sleepwalking, running away from whatever is chasing him in his dream. And as he comes to, he trips on something and cuts his hand on like a rock outside, like pretty bad. So now we have a scar. Like this is like an actual thing. There's that. After this incident, so this is all like pretty quickly. All right. The next thing that happens is Vicky comes home and Rob is painting the walls in the main house. And she's like, this looks amazing. Like, this is really coming together. This is exactly what we wanted. And they have like a wall of windows. Again, this is a huge estate. This is not like just some dinky little nice house on like a really big, like this is an estate. So you got this big ass wall of windows. And as she's like admiring the work her husband's doing, she sees something out of the corner of her eye on the property. And it's a man walking out of the woods with a red t-shirt. And as soon as she sees him, he makes eye contact with her. He's staring at the house, and then he makes eye contact with her. And she knows that he sees her. Like, she knows it. And before she can even get Rob's attention to be like, dude, there's somebody in our backyard, the guy turns and goes back into the woods and disappears. But it's not like... It's a little too quickly to have happened to have been an actual human. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a blink of an eye, but it wasn't like he strode away. So she does say to Rob, yo, there was somebody in our yard. He was wearing a red t-shirt. He came out of the woods. And Rob's like, all right, we need to really consider that we live in a house where a serial killer lived and committed murders. As much as we don't want it, there are going to be people who are looky-loos who just want to come and see the property. You know, we can't put fences up. We can't, like, this is something that is going to be part of our lives, whether we like it or not.
Right.
So,
and that makes
you know,
sense.
if it gets to be too bad, we will call in the authorities or we'll figure out a thing. But, you know, a here and there looky-loo, we might just have to suck it up. And she was like,
right.
All right, I hate it, but you're absolutely right. I get it. So then that night, we're going back to the apartment with Joe. Joe finishes dinner. He's washing his dishes, and he starts hearing a knocking on the door. Now, there's like a knocker, like one of those old bronze knockers on the door. And he starts to hear a knocking, and his hands are all wet and sudsy, and he's like, I'm coming. And he's like trying to like rinse off his hands and like dry them and get whatever. And now the knocking gets harder and like worse. And he's like, yo, what? This is obviously Vicky or Rob.
Chill out.
No, this is obviously Vicky or Rob, and there's an emergency. He's like, I'm coming. Oh. I'm so sorry. Here. And he gets to the door and he opens it and there's no one there. So he's like, what the fuck? So now he's looking around. He's like, poking his head out the door like, who was here? Like somebody was just knocking on this door. So now he's like, shit, is there an intruder? Somebody's trying to get into the house, but they're like knocking over here so they can get in somewhere else. So he turns around and he sees a figure walk from the kitchen where he just was into his bedroom. And his dog Fred starts growling and freaking out. So he checks the apartment. Like, you know, he does the whole like, hello, is anybody here? Like, what's going on? He checks the apartment and nobody's there. So to calm himself down, he takes his dog Fred and they go for a walk down the driveway. Again, huge 18-acre thing. There's a very sprawling, beautiful driveway, very well lit. He's walking down the driveway with the dog. And the dog takes off towards the woods. Like they're walking fine, no problem. Then the dog takes off. And as he turns to see, like, where the fuck is Fred going? He sees a man with a red t-shirt walking back towards the woods. So now he's like, oh shit, my dog. And he starts chasing the dog because you got to go get your dog, you know? He's chasing the dog into the woods. And by the time he gets to the woods, Fred is already turned around, cowering, like he's trying to get back out of the woods. So he's like, Fred, what's wrong? Da-da-da-da-da. And the dog is like looking at him, but not at him. So he slowly turns because he starts to feel like somebody is next to him. So he turns towards, you know, his shoulder, and he sees the dude in red just standing there staring at him. And then he disappears. We're fucked. We're freaked. I'm freaked. This is why this like freaks me out, this whole thing.
I'm leaving. I'm not.
Well, yeah, he didn't. Instead, he goes back to his apartment, and as he's opening the door, like, it's a small apartment, so from his front door, he can see into his bedroom. As he opens the door, he sees a different young man, not the guy in red, and not this shadow figure he saw. A different dude comes sprinting out of his bedroom. He is soaking wet like he had just come out of a pool, and he's running for his life, like screaming. This thing comes running, oh my God, da-da-da. And they make eye contact. And as they make eye contact, he's like, I swear whatever that was recognized that there was another person there and was just as confused as I was. And then it ran out the door and disappeared once it hit the driveway.
Oh my God. Is this like is this like
it's all in one day?
Is this like the murder house thing where like if you die
oh
in the
my
property,
God,
maybe
holy shit, I didn't think about that. Maybe
because that's not where I mean, I guess I didn't take a good look at the property, but the apartment isn't too far away from it. It's not like it was
they're all kind of attached.
But
the house is kind of like an L, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
So then that might have been where. Oh my God.
I mean, kind of.
I don't look at it.
What I've picked up is that the thought was, you know, he'd do everything in the pool, and then before he got them out to the woods, he'd hide them in the apartment.
Which would make sense because that's not the main house.
Yeah. What if, you know, wifey and kids came home early or something?
Right.
So this is all one day. The next day he goes over to Rob and Vicky's house, and he's or like the main part of the house, and is like, hey, anything fucking weird going on over here? And they're like, no, absolutely not, everything's fine, what are you talking about? And he's like, cool, nothing's going on by me either, I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page.
I just want to make sure we're all okay.
Man, yeah, no, just checking in, new house, what's up, guys? So that night, he kind of gets comfortable again. He's like, all right, nothing's going on. Maybe gas leak. I don't know. Maybe I'm hallucinating. It's a new place. I'm still trying to get used to this. Cool. That next night, the same thing happens. Somebody starts knocking on the door. And he's like, this shit again. So he gets up, and the knocking is so hard that the door is shaking on the hinge. So he is like, fuck this, I got this, and he goes out with full gusto. He's like, I am the manliest man, and I am going to take out...
Get out of here.
Yeah. I am so fucking mad. Blah, like, rampage. And he gets out there, and there's nobody around. So he's looking around. He's trying to, like, see out now. It's dark. He's trying to, like, look out on the property. And he's like, this motherfucker. So he turns around. And the knocker, like, the knocky part of the knocker is perpendicular to the door. Like, someone's still holding it.
And he hasn't left the property yet? Like,
As he's looking at it, it's like somebody dropped it and it knocked one last time. No.
I would just leave. Take Fred.
Take Fred.
Go back. Get out of there. Have a nice hotel room.
Yeah, no.
Get out.
So this is one of those things. This is where I start going, like you said. We're leaving. We're leaving the property. I'm out. Deuces. Yes. I will go live an hour away and lose my job. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But he goes back into the apartment. He locks the door behind him and goes and sits on his bed. Again, you can see the front door. So he's sitting on his bed, staring at the front door, trying to process what the fuck just happened. And as he's staring at the doorknob starts to turn. And I'm picturing, like, how this is described. I am picturing, like, every fucking horror movie where, like, the murderer's coming, they're there, they know that you're there hiding under the bed. And even though the front door is locked, the doorknob turns. It stays turned in the, like, open position for, like, a hot second. And then the door bursts open and the lock is broken. So he...
I just got chills. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
No.
I can't.
No. So this is when he runs out, and he runs right to the main house and is like, guys, I have to tell you what the fuck is going on this property, because something fucking weird is happening and it's coming after me and I don't know what to do about it. And they're like, please sit down. Let's make you some coffee. Like, let's talk this out.
Let's chat.
Yeah. So they're all at the kitchen table, and he is like, okay. Gives him the whole recounting. And when he gets to the dude with the red shirt, Vicky starts crying. Vicky freaks out. Yeah. And is like, I saw that guy yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
He went into the woods. It was super weird. He wasn't like a human. It was like a human, but not a human. She's like, I can't explain it. And he's like, okay, so now they're coming up with this plan. They're like, obviously the house is haunted. The property is haunted. Something is haunted. They're like, this is obvious now. We're all on the same page. We went from nothing is wrong, everything is unicorns and butterflies, to, okay, we have a haunting on our hands. And then they start to push the narrative of, it must be the victims. The victims are trying to tell us something. These aren't actually ghosts. They're just why can I never remember? Like, it just fractures in time that are stuck here. They're not really smart. Like,
oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
It's they are not intelligent. It's just a replaying of what's going on. Like, this is what's happening. This has to be what's happening. We can resolve this. They were nice. They're just scared. They don't really know what happened. Like, this is the narrative they're pushing. Residual hauntings.
There it is.
Thank you.
We figured it out.
We got there. They must be residual. We are safe. Everything is fine. There's no problems.
But then why did the door... No. Okay.
So, we all have decided this is what we're going with. We are fine. And everybody goes to bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-mm.
No.
I'm not happy with that answer.
No.
I'm not.
The next...
My door just busted open.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
So, after that, things kind of calmed down for a little bit. And, you know, they all got comfortable. They all, again, not that they forgot, but we've moved on. And there was a day where Joe took Fred for a walk on the property, and he went out into the woods. He went for a nice little walk in the woods, letting the dog, you know, sniff around. And there are trails in the woods. Well, he gets there, and he's walking around, and what is sitting perfectly bleached right on top of all of the leaves? A human femur bone.
Yep.
And it's one of those things. The police have been through this property so many times. How is this femur bone in the center of this trail on top of leaves after how many years just perfectly sitting here waiting for me? So later on, you know, you find that the family does still find bones regularly. And this was in 2000, in the 2000s. So, I mean, in 2024, they're still finding shit. It's...
Yeah.
There's lots of people still out there. So Fred gets excited and kind of tries to play with the bone. But they call the police back. Of course. They do the whole thing. The rigmarole of the investigation comes back. And cool. A little bit later than that, it's nighttime again. Joe's playing on his computer. He's doing whatever, fucking around. And he hears like this weird metallic sound come from his kitchen. Cool. So he goes to investigate, and he sees all of the knives from his butcher block are neatly lined up in the bottom of the sink. And the...
Yeah, no, I don't...
The fuck?
This is... No.
He also notices on his island, so it's like a wood island with like a rock top, whether it be marble or whatever. But there are new gouge marks, like from a knife, on the island. And he's like, those weren't there before. So thinking it's a victim trying to tell him something, he pulls out his iPhone and turns on the recording app and starts an EVP session, which I think is super smart. Like, way to be.
It's yeah, okay, but I
So he starts asking questions.
I'm not qualified for that.
Well, he starts asking questions. Is there anybody here? Who are you? Why did you move my knives? Is there something you were trying to tell me? And he asks, is there someone here? Nothing happens. He's starting to feel stupid. And he asks one more time, is there anybody here in the kitchen with me? And Fred starts growling. So he's like, all right, that's fucking weird. So he takes the recording, he goes back to his computer, plugs it in and listens. And he gets an EVP saying, and it's a man's voice, and it says, I'm the married one. Now remember, all of her Baumeister's victims were single gay men.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Her Baumeister was the only married one.
Yep. Yes, he was.
Yes, he was. So now we know Herb is also on the farm.
In there, specifically, with that guy.
Yeah, in the apartment specifically.
Yeah.
So those are all the main stories from the people who live or have lived there. Like, I don't know if Joe still lives there. I believe the Graves still live there. But there have been multiple paranormal groups who have entered the property. One is an Indiana-based one. They're called Paraholics.
Oh, cute.
Isn't that
I
cute?
like that.
I love that.
That's cute.
They have a really nice website, too. I mean, it's like a subscription base. It's kind of like Patreon. So, like, I didn't get to, like, really, like, get into everything. I would have to pay for it, and I wasn't going to do that. I'm sorry, Paraholics. But I'm trying to give you, like, a shout-out so that way other people will, because I really want to. And if you join our Patreon, then I can have money and I can join Paraholics. But anyway... the main dude, his name is Matthew Jackson. And in their reports, they said that they walked onto the property and knew something was wrong. They kept seeing at the wood line a dark figure, like, following them. And, like, jutting out from behind the trees. They also reported multiple temperature drops, including when they were outdoors. They caught disembodied voices. They also had EVPs that they captured in the pool area, including whispers that they really couldn't make out and cries for help.
Yeah. Sounds right.
They also said that the responses they received seemed conscious. They were reacting to investigators in real time and hinting at something beyond residual hauntings. So there are definitely residual hauntings, but there's also some very smart things on the property too. Then we get to our favorite paranormal investigators, Zach Bagel Bites.
Zach Bagans.
I'm Zach Bagans here at Fox Hollow Farm. And this is around the time, so this is season 9. If you're watching it on HBO, it's actually season 11, but when it aired, it was season 9, episode 9, and it's just called Fox Hollow Farm. But this is where they were transitioning to be more serious. So it really was, I'm Zach Bagans. Let's learn about a serial killer. So the initial interviews with Rob, Vicky, and Joe happen. Vicky actually said of the man in the red t-shirt, she said that I've only ever seen him from the waist up. So I found this fact out from Ghost Adventures. She also said that I just feel like he's trying to show me something or tell me something, and I haven't been able to find it yet. But she's like, if I find it, I feel like he'll be at rest. Too bad it wasn't the femur.
Right.
But, okay.
Yeah.
Rob tells a story of when he was vacuuming the pool one time. Not one time, I'm sorry. Like, pretty regularly, like, when he is vacuuming the pool, he sees shadow people or shadow figures coming and darting in and out of the pump room. So that was another spot, I believe, that they thought he might have been storing bodies.
Yeah.
Like, to get them back out.
Or at least, like,
Yep.
hanging them with the hose or whatever.
Then, Joe allows them to go into his apartment. I don't think he was living there at the time anymore. I think he left. I definitely would have left, but I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
He showed them the knife marks that the contractors couldn't stand out. Oh. Like, the knife marks that he found. He also mentioned an experience he had in the pool. So he went swimming in the pool one night, and he was in the pool, and all of a sudden he felt like somebody was with him, and he felt warm hands go around his neck from the back and felt the fingers intertwine across his throat. Mm-hmm. Cocky. He also added some more details from his encounters that we talked about before. So one was that he saw the man with the red t-shirt, and he also confirmed, he doesn't have legs. Like, you just see from the waist up. It's just some dude like, it's literally a head, shoulders, arms, and a red t-shirt. This is also where we find out that the kid who was soaked running through his apartment, this is where we find out, I made eye contact with him. He registered that I was there too. Like, as I was like, holy shit, this is happening, he saw across this guy's face, holy shit, this is happening. So the whole residual thing never really sat well with him.
Yeah.
After they have all these conversations and they, chit chat, the Ghost Adventures crew go off and they, have their little powwow before they get ready to investigate. And Zach looks at Nick and is like, I definitely think there's more to this story than what they're telling us. And Nick's like, yeah, probably. He goes, I kind of think Rob has more of a connection to Herb than he wants to let on. So their thing is like, Herb's trying to connect with the patriarch of this family because he was the patriarch of the last family.
Yes. I mean, that would make sense.
It does make sense, but like, very dramatic. Not demure. Not mindful. So they do, as they're setting up the investigation, they immediately hear a huge bang from the pool area, and they're like, let's go. So as they're walking, they're ascending or descending. They're going up or downstairs. I can't really tell. Zach is doing his little thing, Herb, if you're here, we're coming for you. And you're a really bad guy, right? Like, and he's like, if you were a victim, we are here to help you. But Herb, man, you're an asshole. Like, shit like that.
And we're here to get you.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
We're going to make you leave. Like, love that. So that's his intro to this. As they're like on the farm, they catch a bunch of loud bangs and knocks throughout. They get EVPs including help, I'm dead, I don't know, Herb did it, I'm here, in the middle, found it, here, getting cold, and getting close. They also catch multiple light anomalies. One appears and disappears into the speaker for like the recorder. And then another one manifests in the back of one of the rooms. I think it's the pool room that happened in. But the episode ends with Nick in the apartment. And this is what has always scared me and kind of was why I got so interested in Fox Hollow Farm and Herb Baumeister. Nick is in the apartment and he's like, something's here with me. And we all know how dramatic they are, but for some reason I put a little bit more stock in Nick. I feel he is a little bit more on point, and he is not as dramatic. Like, he has his moments, but like he kind of seems more real, more authentic. Cool. This is my opinion. You can have your own opinion, but this is my opinion. So while he's there, he feels he's being drawn to the closet in the bedroom. And he's in there. And while he's in there, the hangers are moving. Like, there's no breeze. There's no air. The air conditioning is not on. There's nothing. He didn't touch them. He's just sitting in the closet. And the hangers are moving. And then it starts to get super cold, he's saying. I'm like, really crazy cold. And he gets all these EVPs. Probably, I'm pretty sure it was the one like, I'm here. And getting close. Right. Like, those are the EVPs. But that's how the episode ends. Like, with him there. Like, they've basically confirmed that Herb Baumeister is still on that property and is still fucking around. And they think he's hiding in the apartment to, like, evade being, not captured, but, you know, being found.
Also, it would kind of make sense if that's where he, you know, he kind of did his thing with like the pool and then there, not necessarily in the main home. So
wow. So that is the haunting half of Fox.
Jesus Christ. See, and again, I wouldn't live there because that.
Maybe just go to the apartment.
How do you get? You know what? That's true. That's fair. Because how do you get rid of that? You don't right? Like he can't
I don't know. When in doubt, sage it out.
I don't know how to get rid of him. I don't know if he's gonna just be like, oh no, Sage, I gotta leave.
There has to be some healer somewhere who can help you.
I agree. I don't know. It's just, but that's so I don't
like it.
And I don't like the hands around the throat.
Warm hands. You're in a pool and you feel warm. It's a ghost. You feel warm hands. Usually it's a cold thing. Like, warm is usually poltergeisty, demonic. Like, yeah.
So it's
when the temperature goes up is when we should be getting like really nervous.
Yeah.
In my humble, unexpertised opinion. Just saying.
Well.
So what did we learn? I learned if it doesn't have legs, don't follow it in the woods.
Or maybe do because they're trying to show you something, but at the same time, it's not Ghost Whisperer.
No.
So like I'm not qualified for that.
No. I kind of feel like, think about it. If it's the guy in the red shirt and they found a femur and we don't see his legs, what if that's his femur?
That's one of his. Yeah, I don't know though. Is he like one of?
I don't know.
Like, is he one of the people who has been identified since? Maybe that's the whole thing. He's trying to be like, hey, find me, but it's like,
how?
They're still finding crap.
Acres. You can't dig up the whole
and they're still finding stuff.
Yeah,
you could, but it's just like
they need to get.
And
that
like, there's
thing
actually
from Jurassic Park where it like X-rays the ground. Is that like a real thing? They need that.
That is a real thing. I think there is. But like, he would tend to, like, a lot of the people were found towards the back corner of the farm in order to, that's why that time when his son found something, he was like, oh, because nobody usually goes to that back corner. So did he do more on the rest? I don't know. But there's so many things that are, this guy.
Yeah, I also don't
This
think
guy.
I would have given it that many chances as Joe did. I definitely would have been out a lot sooner.
I
Like, we're
literally the
good.
first night I would have been like, "Did you guys hear the banging last night?" No. Okay. I can't stay here.
Yeah. Can
Like,
I sleep
I
with
can't.
you tonight? And then tomorrow I'm going to leave. I'll just crash on the couch. I will literally sleep on one of the folding chairs by the pool. Like, please do not make me stay in this
Please.
apartment. I would
I can't
rather
be
be
there.
by the pool than be in my apartment right now. Please. Please.
Has anybody been in the apartment? Like, has anybody stayed in the apartment since?
That is a
Or-
great question that I probably should have looked up.
I was just thinking in terms of like if the family's still there because
I
they're
think
not
the
really.
Graves still live there.
Because if they're still like experiencing things, but not as bad as the apartment, I feel like it's not as bad for them.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody else would ever stay in the apartment after that.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
I mean, it's probably a really good B&B attraction.
I mean, you definitely could make some money like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'd stay there for the night for an Airbnb.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd be too scared.
I think you're doing great. Well, that's that.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. I mean, a lot of people kind of see the haunting side as a hoax because it's a little too convenient. I'm going to throw that out there. So, what do you guys think? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's a hoax? Do you think they're like just playing on, hey, we had a serial killer living here?
Yeah.
Tell us on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Come find us. We're on YouTube. Check the bell. We're on something else that's kind of like Twatter, but isn't. What's it called? Blue something?
Blue
We're on
Sky.
Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you know what we didn't do at the top of the episode?
We did not.
We did not. We have a new Patreoner. We have a new Patreoner.
We do.
Oh my gosh. I don't remember her name. We're going to do this again.
It's Krista.
Krista, thank you so much for joining our Patreon. She joined at the $10 level, so she gets extra episodes, and she gets to pick a topic, so make sure you let us know.
Yes.
We're going to send you a note in the mail. I got to check if I have your address. We won't tell it here, don't you worry. But super happy and excited that you're joining us on Patreon. And
and tell us what you want to hear because you get to
choose an episode. Oh my gosh, so excited for you. If you want to be awesome, amazing, and cool like Krista is, join our Patreon. You can find us at deathbeforebooze.com and then just click on Patreon. It's subscription start at $5 a month. And then you get all the extra content, especially because now you're all caught up over here, so you should definitely go listen to more of us.
We got some crazy stuff going.
Yep. Make sure you tell your friends, rate, review, and subscribe. That's the best way to get our information out there. If you need some of our merch, again, go to our website. And if you want to know about any of our sources or see any of the pictures, that's all over there too. I think that's it. That's going to be it for today. We've had a million technical issues. So I think we need to stop talking before everything breaks.
Oh, no.
Which is like just about to. We love you so much. See
it's
you
just
next
about
week.
to. So we love you guys. Stay spooky. Bye.